And we
Cheers.
are live.
Woo, we are
Woo.
back.
Nice.
Okay.
So, how you doing?
I'm good. Really busy,
Yeah,
which is a good thing. Closed a couple of big clients for my agency.
really. That's awesome.
Yes.
Tell me how did
Mhm.
it go? How did you do it?
It was mostly from a networking session that we had. Like already had this existing client that we were
Okay.
working with. We did their websites and their branding and all of that. So they had this party, some kind of anniversary party for their their holding companies or whatever. And then they introduced us to someone in Dubai. So they had a business in Dubai where they built boats and yachts and all of those stuff. And then we were like, oh, that's cool, that's interesting. Like the most that I was hoping for was like an invitation to Dubai. Just pay for my flight, just pay for my flight and my hotel and take me just a spin on your yacht. Like I'm good, you know. And then a few weeks later, we received an email from them, saying like, "Hey, we want to build this platform. Can you do it for us?" And then we were like, "What? Wait, what?" So yeah, I mean, it was such an interesting call, I guess, because it wasn't much of like, how much is it? So how do you guys do it? Like, it's so different when you are speaking to someone of high net worth. Like they understand that, okay, you have to spend money to make money. Like it's so clear. So the entire time, the entire conversation, it's just them telling us about their hopes and dreams, like their vision for this thing. And then they just want to know, like, can you do it for us? Have you done it before? And we were like, yeah, we can build a platform for you. We have done it before. And then we showed them the platform that we have done before. And then they were like, okay, great. When can we start? Are you going to send a proposal, a contract? And we were like, yeah, we will send you a proposal like tomorrow or something. So exciting, definitely. It's like the biggest contract that we have done to date.
Fuck yeah.
I can't
Go
wait. Yeah.
Angus. That's so exciting. Congratulations. Yay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. That's brilliant. I love that. Okay, so maybe you still will get an invitation to go on the yacht
I
eventually.
hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I want to get on that yacht. I want to fly first class to Dubai more than the contract. Just
I
kidding.
bet. That's bougie. Oh, I
Ah,
love that. I love that. That's so encouraging. That's so cool. Good for you. That shows too the
mm,
power of networking, right? Like you do it once well with one person, then it's easier to repeat that, especially when they introduce you to their network, right? So
mm. But I think the biggest misconception is that people think that you have to network in order to sell, like in order to get clients in.
right.
Like I I struggle with explaining to people that you sell when you're not selling. Once
Yeah.
you actively sell, that's when people run away.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
network for the relationship, network for that opportunity, but
Yeah.
don't network to sell. And I think that's like the
Yeah.
biggest misconception that people have.
Yeah. No, like I was at a networking event last week. There's the Toronto International Film Festival that's like been happening. And so my mom's part of Women in Film and Television. And I
Mm,
went as her plus one. Okay. So you
mm,
had to
mm,
get
mm,
dressed up. They sent an invitation out that said, oh, 10% off gown rentals. It's like
mm.
gown rentals. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. So I went and got a dress, like a gown, and went. And there was like a red carpet. There was photos. There was like,
Oh,
local
wow.
celebrities and stuff there. And I was like,
Fancy
this is
stuff.
so fun. It was the most extroverted networking event I've ever been to in my life because they're all like
Mm,
in the film and TV industry. So they're
mm.
outspoken. They're either actors or writers or directors. So literally everywhere you turned, like anytime I turned, like I tried to get to the bar for water, okay? I'm like at the bar for water, and this group of and I was wearing like really tall heels, and like people in film and television are usually like very
Small,
tiny. They're very
right?
small. So
Mm.
I like turn, and there's these like three like tiny little people there, and I'm like, oh hi, and you know, because they're like smiling. They're like, hi, how's it going? I was like, oh hello, like just here for water. Like what do you do? And all of them were like, we're composers. I was like, oh. And so my mom started talking with them, and I'm trying to like get water, but like I'm still, you know, trying to talk. And so then this guy swoops in to like get water from the bar because I'm clearly talking to someone. So then I like make like a not even a quarter turn, and now he's there, and I'm like, oh hey, like good for you, opportunity seeker, like good job. And he's like, ha ha, you have to be that way in the film industry. And I was like, wow, okay. And then I like turned to the bartender, and now I'm like, okay, can I have a water? And as I'm talking to her, somebody else comes in from this side, and now they're like, they've taken the water, they're like trying to pour this like massive jug into this little bottle. So I don't want to move because I'm like, oh my God, I don't want that spilling on my dress. Like even though it's water, like, oh my God. And so she's now talking to me. And then the bartender I finally get my water, and now I'm like turning this way. And then this like I like turn into someone who's like, you know, at my like rib level. And I'm like, oh, hello. How are you? I haven't even turned around and given my mom her water. Like I had to like complete the turn, give my mom her water. And now I'm like talking to this other person. So I literally met like 7 people without even like turning around. And then this person I met, she's like, she's worked on Dragon's Den. I was like, shut up. I love Dragon's Den. So her and I were talking for a while. But it was honestly like you couldn't walk without meeting someone who was like, hi, I'm Hillary Cluett, da da da, like, hi, I'm da da. Like there was no space. At one point we got lost and like we're trying to find the bathroom, and that was one of the highlights of the event for me because it was like quiet. We totally got lost. We went in the absolutely wrong direction, so it was like this adventure off by ourselves. But like I'm just not used to networking events where everyone's like out there, because usually in tech events people are like super awkward, right? So it was really interesting because you're right, like you couldn't go there and sell things. Like everyone was talking about themselves, talking about their projects, talking about whatever, and like me in the film and television, like I sometimes do costume design, but like I'm not really like that involved in the industry. But then after talking with a few people, they're like, you did costume design, you're in it, like so it was like, oh my God, this was intense. Like it was intense. It was an intense networking session. And yeah, you can't go in with that mindset of like, I'm gonna sell something and I'm gonna make money from this event. You have to go in with that like, maybe I'll meet some people and get to ask them a few questions and like hand out a business card or something. Like, ooh, like who knows? But like it honestly, like it was the craziest event I've ever been to, just for the amount of extroverts that were there. It was like 2,000 extroverts. Wow. It was insane. Yeah, no, it was like next level. And everyone was like fancy and like in the business, and but it was cool. I met someone who worked on Dragon's Den, and that just like lit up my life. So now we're connected. We're gonna chat more. So not as exciting as landing a massive client, but still interesting.
I think, I mean, there are always different takeaways.
Yeah.
You know, getting a client is just one of them. So
it's a big one. That's a big one. That's like top priority. I'd say that's like in a class of its own success metrics. But yeah, that's good. I mean, I since our last conversation, you really got me thinking. I love it too, because I can hear your voice so clearly in my head, like when I'm doing something that you clearly said, like, for example, why aren't you charging for the assessment call? Especially after doing all that math. Like it made it so clear. And then I actually went through and I read the recommendations that like 19 people had given me specifically about the assessment call. 5 of them called it invaluable. Other people called it like they were just praising the whole experience. They were just like so excited about it. So it's like, oh, okay. So that's how I can package different aspects of what I do. And right now I've packaged the assessment call. I changed my whole LinkedIn profile to just like be like, book one, let's do it. Have all of the recommendations I put on my website, people's like, because they wrote like this much, like everybody wrote like this much text. So I hadn't even gone through it all because I was like, oh my God, like who has time to read all that? But I read it all because I put it on the website explaining like what these things are. And so last week, or was it Monday? I guess it was Monday. I've been going to the gym so much, like sometimes twice a day now. Like I honestly have no idea. But yeah, I think it was Monday. I actually did 2 discovery calls where I sold the assessment call, because right now it's still wrapping up of like people who had the assessment call for free or whatever. So it was kind of this week where I wasn't really sending out the links, but then I had 2 new discovery calls and I was like selling them the assessment call, and they were like, yeah, that sounds great. I'll book it right after I do this thing. I was like, okay, because I jacked the price. I was like, it's like over $500 now. I was like, it's invaluable. I'm sorry, if 5 people call it invaluable, like that's no, we're making this a product. Like this is it, and I can help you through this process. And when you were like, hey, your only job is to get these 4 people who have paid you jobs. So I also like took that networking up like 15 levels and met with someone. So one of my first successful meetings with one of the founders who's like in tech doing stuff, looking for UX designers. She was like, wow, this is such a great service. I love that you're like people oriented, like write me up a blurb. I'm going to put it on all the Slack channels I'm part of with all the founders, just like you're talking about the networking thing, right? Like when you have that in. So because of your design system, I was able to create a really quick landing page with like the link for them to book. So that's starting to actually get some like
momentum,
pavement under the wheels. Yeah, it's not just like, I was like, what visual am I seeing right now? Instead of just like a car like spinning tires, it's like actually like going. So that's exciting. I was actually pretty stoked about that, and I was excited to tell you that I've been selling the assessment call. So no bites yet, but I know it's coming. So I can feel it.
Okay, maybe I'll take a look at
my website. Oh, my LinkedIn. Yeah. Well, it was interesting too, because the one guy who I talked to on Monday, I was selling him the assessment call, and he had come from like, he booked this discovery call with me because I'd given a presentation at one of the groups he was in. He was like, I loved it. I loved your energy. I like use this quote that you made all the time. Super cute. And then I was like, okay, well, when you're ready, like do these 2 things. And then when you're ready, you can grab an assessment call. It just became a service. I've tested it. It's great. People call it invaluable. Like it's awesome. Whenever you're ready, book that. And he goes, oh yeah, I saw that. I can book it from your LinkedIn. And I had just made the changes. I was like, yes, you can. So I was like, well, that's clearly working. So great. So I'm, yeah, I mean, and then even see, like that's the UX assessment call. And I had someone actually come in, and I didn't realize that she was going for business analyst. And then when we got on the call, she was like, oh, I'm doing business analyst. I was like, oh, that's sick. And, she started describing it to me. And so then I just switched the assessment call. I was like, well, do you still want to try it? Like I can modify it to be for BA. And so we did that. We modified it for a BA. And so she had an assessment call, and she's like, oh, look, you have a whole new segment. It's like, okay, well, I'll put that on the back burner for right now. But that's interesting that this can like be something that's maybe more than what it is right now. So, because then that's a little package that I have that's super easy to talk to when I message people about a discovery call, sell them on this thing. And really my whole main focus right now is actually just going after founders and people hiring designers so I can get my people in there. So, because that's where the cash is, but that's okay. I can see it happening a little bit. I'm like, okay. No more spending free time doing free things for all the people. I read your recommendation really closely too, and it was like, oh man, I had to help Hillary because she was just helping everybody without helping her business. It's like, that is so true, Agnes.
But that was a long time ago.
It was.
I mean, yeah, look how far we've come, like the both of us.
Yeah, I know, because even when you and I did our first interview, like when I interviewed you, you still weren't sure if you were going to be an agency, if you were just going to do the food thing. Like you were still figuring it out, right? And like your whole thing was kind of based on numbers, and that's when I was like, whoa, that's so interesting. Like,
I mean, that's the thing that I found. That's the thing that I found very interesting was that no one was looking at their numbers.
Nobody. No.
I was like, you can't run a business without numbers, but the thing that you are not looking at is your numbers.
Yeah. But closely and carefully, because like even last time when I was like, okay, so my sales number was actually like a great ratio, like the winning. But then you went deeper. You were like, okay, great. So we have that number, but let's like see how much time you're actually spending on getting these people based off of this. And you did all the calculations, and I was like, like horrified at, okay, actually this isn't making. You're like, okay, you've just created a job for yourself. Like you have a job. Is that why you went into becoming an entrepreneur, just to get a job? It's like.
That wasn't the tone, okay?
I'm like, oh my god.
But yeah, I think it's a common misconception that like sales is everything. I'm not saying that sales is not important. Like sales is important, but cash flow is even more important. And that's where people are like, what's the difference? And then I have to go on to explain, and then the only numbers that they kind of focus on is like, okay, how am I gonna get leads? How much money do I make and all of that. Like all of those things are very high level. That, for example, if the problem was that, oh, I'm not making enough money.
Yeah.
Then like how are you supposed to diagnose that problem with that one figure?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's where a lot of people kind of like, I don't know, like what else should I look at? Because I'm like working 12 hours a day, 16 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, who told you that like the more you work, the more you're going to earn? That's not true.
That's not true.
You know, the most successful people are able to earn more per hour. That's it.
Yeah.
So there are people out there who are making like $1 million by working 4 hours a day. But there are also people out there working 14 hours, making $1 million. So it's like, choose your lifestyle. But most of the people around me, I know they're like trying to justify that I am working hard, so I deserve that revenue.
Yeah.
Why do I not have those sales? And I'm like, why do you want sales? You should be looking at your profits. You should be looking at how much do you take home, right? What's the point of making like $1 million on your business when your take home is $10,000?
Yep. Yeah. That's
right?
that revenue versus like net profit thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the biggest problem is still financial education, I feel, when it comes to solopreneurs and designers and a lot of freelancers. They don't know a single thing about business, but they want to start a business because of what social media is trying to tell them.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like have social media growing up, so that was never my reason for starting a business. I would always just like be in a situation and then someone would be like, oh, I need X and X. I'd be like, oh, I'm here. Let's do it. Like, yeah, sure. You got cash? Let's go. That was always like my mentality. It's like, oh, you have a problem? Oh, I'm more than capable of solving that right now. Let's go. So, and then I never realized that mentality was like different, or that I should, focus maybe on the back end of business a little bit more. It was just like my way of living was just like, oh, let's just solve this immediate thing right now, and then I'll totally forget about it and move on to something else. Absolutely, 100% of the time. And then that person sometimes would take what I'd given them and then make money off of it. That happened a lot. Like, even with my notes, like at university, at the different universities, like I'd take notes and then someone would be like, oh, can I have the notes? I'd be like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, here you go. And then next thing I know, the whole class is using my notes and they've all paid this person like $10-15. And I'm just like,
oh my god.
Hey, I missed out on a substantial opportunity here. I'm not really sure what happened. All the time. Because I was just like giving. Like, oh, okay, you need this thing. Oh, let me help you. Oh, okay, yeah, sure, let me do this. Not realizing like, oh no, Hillary, you're skilled. People pay for skills, so they don't have to do the thing. So
yeah, but I think like the things that you say all check the boxes of like a business owner and an entrepreneur. Like, we are supposed to solve a problem, right? That's why it's valuable. But what most people fail to do is trying to put a dollar value on their solutions.
Yeah.
Like for you, you're so focused on solving the problem, right? Because you're a very passionate person. You're very excited to help people out. So people, when they're like, Hillary, I need help, you're like, I'm down. Right?
It's like that running meme. I'm just like running to them, like, yeah.
In the slow motion.
Yeah.
The sunset by the beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the problem is that, like you mentioned, right? The guy who got the solution managed to charge for it because he saw the value in it. So
yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. When I was reading the comments, I was like, people literally, like almost everybody was like, I wholeheartedly recommend Hillary and her services. This is invaluable. It's like, what? And some of those people weren't even ones that I like coached extra after. They were just like from that entire process of going through the assessment call, of watching themselves, of using the techniques and the recommendations and everything, building that PDF that was taking me whatever. It doesn't take me that long. It's mostly automated, but whatever. That was invaluable. And I was like, oh shit. Like this, I've got to just like start valuing myself differently, like not through my own eyes of how I see it, because I see people and all I want to do is help a person. That there's no money there. I don't even think about the money. Like, I'm like, oh, whatever, it's fine. But seeing myself just through their eyes of how they described it, how they talked about invaluable. Like, no one ever uses that word to describe a service. Like, it's invaluable. Like that's like the MasterCard saying like priceless. Those commercials? They have those in Singapore where they're like
it's been a long time since I
$12.
watched TV.
Yeah, same, but like that stays out of my head. It's like chocolate cookies, $12, like Girl Scouts, whatever, blah blah blah. Like time spent together, priceless. Like for everything else, there's MasterCard. I'm pretty sure that was like the commercial. And so just having that like that same word basically used, like invaluable, that kind of clicked for me. I was like, okay, so I'm going to focus on this. I also started to notice that some of my clients were like hanging on to some of their coaching sessions. You know how I had like 3 sessions or 13 sessions. 13 sessions is just like way too long. Just way too long. It's so much more work. I'm going to pay way less. I was like, you know what? No, that's not happening anymore. And then the clients who even I was doing 3 sessions with got so much out of the first 2 that they hold on to this extra session for when they need it. That's what they were saying. And I was like, okay, so clearly I'm giving you too much for too little. So that's fine. I'm gonna keep you guys there. However, moving forward, now I also noticed on my website people were confused between coaching and workshop, because essentially when we made it, right, when you were helping me make it, there wasn't like necessarily a strong difference between the two. And it was kind of like, okay, you know, just like call, whatever, we'll figure it out. So I made them different now, because now I know. I'm like, okay, this is the workshop, 3 hours, 1 day workshop, whatever, big bucks, get the company in, it's fine. Because eventually I can see that happening. And then the coaching sessions are now just 90 minutes. It's a 90-minute coaching session, and it's expensive, and it's what it is. And you get your 90 minutes, and I help you as much as I can in that 90 minutes. And then you get your documents, you get your stuff, you get whatever, you get to practice, you know, there's a little bit of follow-up. But I just started thinking about it differently. It's like, oh, okay. And not feeling bad about it, because that's the other thing, when like someone who's never valued their time, valued their services, valued their skills, then starts putting value to those things, like a little while ago, I would start to feel like guilty, like, oh, what if I can't help that person? What if blah, 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 like just like stupid guilt. And it's now I don't feel that way. And just like you're saying, when you're actually dealing with people who can afford it, who are in that league that like you want to be playing in, like it's a different conversation. So raising yourself up to like be part of that new conversation, yeah, it's scary, but like you shouldn't feel guilty about that. That's actually like, that's a good step. It's a good stepping stone. So I mean, I'm not at the level you're playing. That's a nice level, but
you will be.
I will be, especially once the recruiting thing starts happening. And like the feedback I got from her, she was like, I don't even remember how you got me here. And I had like totally searched her out, like straight up, like found her, connected with her, sent her a message, got her interested, got her to book it, got her on the call, and she was automatically like a bestie, like the CEO, like the founder, right? So like she was like, oh, you're gonna save me so much time, like this is so great, I'm gonna tell you about these funding opportunities, because then you can get in touch with those companies, and then blah, 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 you know, just like, so I was like, okay, good, like I can connect with the C-suite, no problem, like that's not even a problem. That's great. Thank God. So they're really like who I want to be talking to. And she was like, I can just feel your passion about the people. So she even picked that out. She's like, you're such a people person. Like you care about them. You vetted them, and you're offering me not just skills and talent. You're offering me like a person to work with who I can actually connect with and work with. And it's like, you nailed it. So I put her quote on the page that I sent out, you know, because I was like, hey, these quotes are actually powerful. I don't have to describe my own product anymore. I don't have to like not pretend, but like, you know, like figure out how to talk about it. I'm just going to use their words, use the user research, and like just put their words all over my website now, instead of me saying, oh, it's this thing. I'm like, as Michael says, as you know, Sarita says, as because they're real people, like, and those quotes are on LinkedIn, you know. So that to me was like uplifting and encouraging. And then with you, I want to say in the back of my head, but it kind of just like, it's like an echo chamber.
I sound like a nightmare.
No, you're like a daydream with action points, like, because you like help me like see the bigger picture, but then give me those like minor details that I would literally never think of or like be able to, you know, because I just don't like, I love math, but I don't like, that's not like my first approach to things, right? My first approach is to just like get in there and get dirty and see how it goes. Gut math, not math, gut math. So you do real math. And that's very helpful. And like, I think we come at this entrepreneurship thing from such different angles, but like somehow meet in the middle for like I don't know. Like, I find our conversations really interesting. Like, I'm sure I'm not like helping you, but you're really helping me. So it's
No,
like, it's
no.
interesting.
I mean, I strongly believe that everyone that we meet in our lives are meant to do something. Like they're meant to cross paths with you. And
Mhm.
so I've always been very analytical when it comes to meeting people, whether they're nasty or not. I mean, that's another
Yeah.
conversation altogether. But
Yeah.
even if they're nasty, I'm like, okay, that's what I don't want to be. That's what I don't want to do. But
Mm.
if I meet people who have different strengths, like like for you, business might be new. Numbers might not be how I would do it. But to me, it's like, oh, networking, or like, okay, when I have conversations, how can I, like, relax a little
Yeah.
bit more, because I'm so used to speaking like in business terms. Like,
Right.
even the way I write emails at the start was like, I mean, I transferred on an email that I sent out like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck is this?
Really
Like,
formal.
it's so formal. It's like business, because
Yeah.
that's how I was taught that it
Right.
should be, right? When
Right.
you're working in a company, your CEO is like how many levels above you. But now I'm like, okay, my CEOs are like my friends now.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I strongly believe that everyone is meant to cross paths for a reason. It's only like, it's really up to you whether you want to be open to it
Yeah.
and just learn,
Yeah.
rather than just respond or like defend yourself. Oh,
Yeah.
I freaking hate it when people are like so defensive,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I
But
still learn a lot from their conversations. So
yeah, and like, to me, defensiveness comes from a place of insecurity. So like,
mm,
I get it a lot because like, people will be showing me, especially so after the assessment call, like usually they'll like upload their resume or like
mm,
their cover letters or whatever,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
this is why I can charge more, because I actually go through these things and help them. And like, I was like, Hillary, what the fuck? Anyways, so I'm going through some resumes yesterday, making some notes, because I'm never like, they can pay for the 90 minutes if they want like really intense, awesome, specific things. But what I'll do is I'll just like pull it up, and it's like the first minute, just what I see in the first minute, and I make notes. Sometimes it's a long list, sometimes it's not. Usually it's about inconsistencies, typos, just like random things that you'd think they'd see, but they've looked at it
Mm,
too long to see it.
mm-hmm,
So yesterday I send out information like that, and immediately, LinkedIn DMs, sometimes it takes like a week for people to respond. This was like immediate response. I was like, oh, okay, now we're chatting. Great. So they like, I had said a few things, just first glance, whatever, here you go, immediately started to defend their work. And it's like,
mm.
no, like,
How do you defend a typo?
this is what I'm saying. How do you, so I, instead of being like, no, you're wrong, I was just like, sure, okay, but this is still the issue. So like, I see what you're saying. This is still the problem, and I'm standing by that. I don't really like, I'm not gonna like play this game of like, you get to defend your point. This isn't like a thesis. This isn't, a masterclass. This is like, you have some fucking typos and some inconsistencies, and just go fix them, and that's going to help you. And or I give out my stuff, and sometimes they can't see my face, so I sound really like direct and intense, and then people are like, that was so intense. I'm like, but like, you have a goal, right? Like, your goal is to like get this out so people will want to read this, correct? And so it always goes back, and that's why I think now my motivation interview is so much better, because like, since I've started that sales process, people kind of convince themselves that they need the help, and then they convince themselves why they want to achieve that goal, right? And then they tell me exactly what it is. They tell me exactly what it is that they want to achieve and why they want to achieve it. And it's like, sometimes so random, like so random, but they come up with it and they say it, and it's like, oh, perfect. So I find like using that more and more now, is starting to like deflect some of that like defensiveness. But people like for me, like I like criticism, I like that kind of stuff just because then I can improve, right? And then I'm making improvements. Whereas I guess it's daunting. I guess like making improvements is just like a daunting task. And like people don't want to do that. They think that they're like in the right or in the know. It's like, well, like, can you imagine if I had said, no, Agnes, I don't want your help? Where would I be? I'd probably be in a mental hospital.
It's not that bad.
No, but like just even the design system and like just the help and like thinking about it differently. Like I've been able to grow so much more, you know, just through our little conversations than if I had just said like, no, Agnes, I'll just like watch your success and like see what happens. Like that would have been crazy. And I know that happened to you too, that you did reach out to other people at the same time you reached out to me. And that's exactly what they said. And it's like, I honestly, this whole like past, it's been like 9 months now, 10 months or whatever with you.
Yeah.
I just have to say, Agnes, I appreciate you so much. So thank you so much. My whole family, they're like, what does Agnes say? Anytime I come up, they're like, what does Agnes say about that? Did you mention that to
Agnes? Yeah. So sweet. My God. Okay, yeah. I cannot wait to meet them.
Yeah. No, they love you. They love you. Like frequently, my dad will be like, so have you talked to Agnes recently? I just love Agnes. Just because they can see like the direction. Like even when you were like, hey, your only task is to get these 4 people hired, that like made me totally go into a totally new mode, a totally new gear. I was like in first gear, now I'm in like third gear. I like skipped second, I'm like in third. I'm like, okay, I got this. And literally my parents are like, so Agnes has said, what about this idea you're having? Like, is this on the path? So they were so excited. They're like, oh, I can't wait for you to tell Agnes that you started selling your assessment calls. My dad was like, you two need to write a book. She suggests something, you go implement it, then you see changes. It's like, I know, it's fast. It's very fast. I was like, well, we have transcripts. We could write a book.
Oh, they're so nice. That's so
Isn't
sweet.
That cute? Yeah. I thought that was, it's been ongoing, but every stage they're like, wow. Like, wow. So it's you're impacting me and my surroundings.
People that I've never met in my life.
Yep, they love you.
Oh, that's so nice.
You have people in Canada, Agnes. You have people in Canada. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know. I'm stoked. Like I know that I'm supposed to be saving for a trip to Singapore, but right now my mom just got her Irish citizenship. So I can go to Ireland and spend a year in Ireland, and then I can get my EU passport, my Irish passport.
Wow.
So now I'm saving for that. So I was like, Agnes can come visit me in Ireland. We'll take Ireland by storm because they have like an entrepreneurial scene that's pretty intense. Like it's actually like quite good somehow. I'm not really sure, but Ireland is like bopping for being an entrepreneur. So I was like, great, Agnes will clean house. She'll go in and be like, I can do your marketing, I can do your branding, I can do this and this and this. It's like, okay, that's incentive. Maybe she'll want to come to Ireland. So but that's my goal. Make a few big sales so that I can get there and be there for a year to get that passport, because then that opens up so many possibilities for me, like to travel around and do whatever. So that just happened yesterday. She just got the email yesterday, and it's been like a year and a half process so far. So
she's moving to Ireland?
Nope, she just got her citizenship because her grandma was born there.
Oh.
So she could get her citizenship. But my granddad passed away before he got his, so like I can't get mine through the grandparents. So like because my mom has hers, now for me to get mine, I have to go spend a year in Ireland, and then I get a passport.
It's a whole process.
That's amazing. Yeah, but like that's been like a goal of mine since I was a little girl, is to like be able to travel the EU without having to come home every 90 days. That's like since I was in grade 8, that's been a goal. And I didn't want to do it through marriage because that's a super easy way to do it. Super easy. Like and that's been offered for sure, you know? No, I'm good, thanks. Like kind of I've turned that down quite a few times. It's like So I wanted to do it like through my own means somehow. But now this is like through the family. But then yeah, that's the only stipulation, is you have to like live in Ireland for a year. So it's motivating for me. Yeah, right? Make some few like nice sales. Get some if I get like a director hired, that's like whoo, that's a big chunk. Because their salaries are like 150 grand. I get like 15. I can do that math. I could do 10% really easily. So, actually,
what about 8%?
I just say, so this would be my gut math. I'd do 10% and then I'd just like decrease it by 20% of that. I'd be like, a little less than like somewhere around 12 grand. Yeah. You get this with me when I do math. I'm
like, but that's the answer though, 12 grand.
Yeah, I know. See, this is why sometimes so like, math works. Yeah. But I'm not actually doing calculations.
Plus
like
minus.
Feeling like, the math out. I'm not like seeing the math being calculated. I can do math. Like if you give me calculations and like, but I have to write it out and I have to like sit there and do it. I love that. I've spent tons of hours doing that. But no, if you ask me something like that, just like I just did right there, I occasionally get it right. But I'm stoked. I feel like there's like, even just having that person say, oh yeah, the assessment call on your LinkedIn page is like, shut up. Like, it's the assessment call on my LinkedIn page.
Okay.
And I put it through Calendly, so they just have to, there's a price associated with it already. So it's like, and that solves the problem of having the prices on my website where I have to go update that all the time. If I want to update the price, I can just update it on the Calendly link. Because that was annoying last call. It's like, wait a minute.
Okay, but I feel like right now your funnel has some slight changes. Maybe I'll just draw it out because I cannot picture it right now. Okay.
Well, I mean, I can still put out polls, right? On LinkedIn, my favorite thing to do, put out a poll that says like, hey, are you looking for UX job? Hey, are you prepared for your interview? Hey, whatever, like those questions are, right? And then I can still message the people who respond positively with, oh, you're looking for this. Let's have a discovery call. And then on that discovery call, like say, usually 100 people answer the poll, usually 50 are in like positive, 50 to 80. Message them, and then from there, it's usually about 15 people book a call. Right? So now instead of just giving them the free
what happens on the call?
Well, this was the thing. Before, the assessment call was like the whole package, and that's what I was pitching, right? So now the discovery call is 15 minutes. I just go through my sales script, which is just asking them about whatever their specific communication issue is, their interview issue. I just replace that one word with whatever the thing is. Which is usually from the poll, like, hey, you said this in the poll, like, let's have a call. And then they book the call. And then on the call, I ask, it's like that 5-question script. And then I've only done that twice now for the assessment call, but both times they were like, yep, this seems like the next step. So they both had pointy eyebrows. So I know pointy eyebrows people don't buy on the call. You can't force them. They always come back with something after, which is totally fine. So, but the calls went really well. So then the next step for them would be an assessment call. So it's only 15 minutes that I've spent with them for free. And then the next time it's like I'm charging them a lot more money for something that they've convinced themselves that they need, which they do need because it's invaluable. It's a great service. So, but that, and then, so from there, so that's kind of like the DM side of the engine. And then I'm not sure if that's where the funnel starts or if that's just like a piece of the funnel, because part of it is to those newsletters and like all that stuff. So
the funnel actually starts from your content. So the minute you post a poll or the minute you post a newsletter, like that is when
that's it. That's the start.
Right. So you're kind of filtering them. You have filtered out the people who would even jump on calls.
Yeah.
Right. So many of them will not even jump on calls. So they're going down the funnel, right? You go into the discovery call, and then from the discovery call, you're pushing them further down by asking them to purchase an assessment call.
Yeah.
So once they have the assessment call, if they, you help them land a job, that's when it's like at the bottom of the funnel already, which is they get the placement and the company pays you or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I feel like for the assessment call, you said you're charging $500, right?
Yeah, it's just a little over 500.
Okay. So 500.
It's like 562 or something.
Okay. But since you just started, so I won't go too deep into the numbers.
Yeah, like literally Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Monday. So
based on what I see, like, is it okay if I gave you my feedback?
Yes. You kidding me? Please.
Based on what I see. Okay. I feel like there is a lot more potential for you to create content to get more people at the top of your funnel. Right? So I'm not just talking about polls. Like polls is great because you get people to raise their hands.
Yeah.
But by creating content, you can actually not really force, but rather encourage the people who, need help through when they are clicking on the mouse for the post, they're like, yes, I technically need your help.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a job, blah, blah, blah. But they are not jumping on the call.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like by creating content, you can actually increase the number of discovery calls that you are creating.
Perfect.
That's
on my list.
Yeah. So
says,
when you're
think about assessment calls, how to market assessment calls on my list. So this is perfect.
Oh no, but I'm talking about the discovery call first.
Yes, right? But it's content that's more related to how that kind of helps them, right? Is that what you're saying or no?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. So when it comes to creating content, what you want to do, right, is a couple of things. The first one is to nurture a relationship so that, they're familiar with the name Hilary Cluett, the founder of UX Vocab Club.
Yeah.
This is a recruitment firm. She's getting people through to interviews and getting them into jobs and getting them promotions. Like you want to be known as that person.
Yeah.
Right. And in order for someone to trust you, they need to spend a certain number of time with you. I can't remember the number, but it is not a small number.
Yeah.
Right. So the easiest way is to keep creating content. And once they engage with it, you are always at the top of their feed. Right. So that's what you want to do. You want to kind of accumulate that number of hours so they feel like I trust this person.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that you want to do. And the second thing that you want to do is to convince them or persuade them to go down the funnel. So the next step of the funnel is actually only the discovery call. It's not even the assessment call yet. Right. So that's what you're trying to do. Every step of the funnel, just promote the next step.
Okay.
Don't think about anything
The
after.
final step.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So it's a little bit like
See, this is
the
why we need to talk every 2 weeks.
it's a bit like dating, you know, when you're dating someone, you are just
I
thinking
haven't
of like,
literally
okay.
dated in years, so like, like
Sorry.
it's been a long time.
It might be time for you to, you know,
Get out there. I know. I've been thinking about it.
You can put your sales skills to the test and like
Can I just
create a
say
funnel for your
a
dating.
funny story quickly about the dating thing? I
Yeah.
was on a call with a client and she was like, "Oh, can you show me how you use your iPad with this program?" Da, da, da. I was like, "Absolutely." I turn it on, share my screen, open up the program. First note on the program is like a bubble, and inside the bubble, it's like, it was so amazing. It was like, what I want in a husband. It's like a husband hunting bubble. It was like, it was so embarrassing. And it was right there, big screen. I was like, oh, well, I also use the bubble method for my personal things. And she was like, oh my God, I love that. Like, that's so nice. I was like, mortified that was a bubble. But yeah, so I'm starting to think about it. But yeah, okay. So it's like dating, which I know nothing about.
Okay. How you want to be like approached by someone else can also be applied in this case. So like
Okay.
if someone were to be friends with you first, like that's one of the easiest ways to get a date actually, just to be friends with that person. So after you spend a certain number of like a few sessions with them, you're like, sometimes we go for a drink, sometimes we go for dinner, blah blah blah. After that, you have built up this trust.
Yeah.
So they're no longer a stranger to you. That's what you want to do with your content. That's the first thing. And then the next thing is like, you want them to call you.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's FaceTime or just voice call, you want them to call you and like just speak with you and ask you out on a date.
Right.
So that's the discovery call.
Right.
Right. But you don't want them to tell you like, oh, I'm looking for this in a wife. You know, I want to do this like on a third date. So we're not gonna skip the steps. We just focus on the next steps and on the next steps. So once they like you, they trust you, and like the discovery call is eye-opening. You know, they might be like seriously considering, oh, maybe this is the person that I want to marry. Maybe this is the person that I want to be with for a long time. Like, I don't know. I just want to see them again.
Yeah.
You know, so that's when you're like, are you interested in having an assessment call?
Oh, hey. Yeah? Oh, hey. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, I think that, you know, at the end of the day, marketing and sales is still like human psychology.
Yeah, totally.
So people don't want to be sold to. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to come up to someone and be like, will you marry me?
Yeah.
No, there's no way. There might be one or two people who might be like, yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah,
whatever.
What's your passport situation? What kind of green card am I looking at here?
You know, there are all sorts of people out there, but yeah, I think it's safe to assume that we shouldn't ask for marriage on the first date.
No, I like that. And I like the idea of just like going to that next step. So my content's all about just like getting them. Because I have had people, like even this guy on Monday was like, oh my God, that presentation you gave, I love your energy. It was the first time I haven't been bored. And lots of people said that to me, actually. A lot of people mentioned that in their comments. They like messaged me and they were like, wow, I love your energy. Da, da, da. I was like, yeah, let's chat. Wow. Like, and he said, he was like, you know, I like what you're saying about UX. I like it totally resonated with me. He's coming into UX from sales. I was like, oh, you're my first sales guy. This is great. And it was really interesting because it was the first one where I was no longer offering the assessment call. I was actually in the discovery call using that sales template, right? And I was like, the one thing though that particular sales script says is that if you are not genuine, let's going back to your psychology thing, if you are not 100% genuine with these questions, this will flip on you instantly. And people will be like, woo, 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 out of here, out of there as fast as they can get. So I find it interesting because my passion, my genuine love and curiosity of people actually feeds into this particular sales model, which is that psychology of like, okay, you're trusting in their experience, you're trusting that they're going to make the best decisions for themselves, and you're just helping them discover what that is, basically, whether or not it's you, whatever that is. But then that helps build that trust and make that connection with them so that they feel very comfortable with you, but they also know that you can help them accomplish whatever it was that they said that they were motivated to do, right? Brilliant. But it has that caveat of like, okay, well, if you're being fake about it, or you don't trust your product, or you don't actually genuinely care, they're going to be able to tell immediately. And that's that whole psychology thing, right? So it's like, it's so interesting. I find it so fascinating. I have a few books that I have not read that are on my library book list. I keep like renewing the hold. Or eventually I'll get to them, but it's all psychology stuff, because it's like I haven't read books about psychology since like 2010, 2014. So I my ex was in neuroscience, so I'd always like steal all his textbooks, like read them. Yeah, that's a good face. That's a great face. Yes. But I would always like steal the books, right? Because I had them all, so I'd like read them all, and it was just fascinating. And so, yeah, I completely agree with you that it's all about the psychology thing. And it would be super weird. Like, I've had guys come up to me and be like, oh, hey, wappa, like, come marry me, come up with me, da-da. And you automatically get that, like, what? Like, who are you? What is your name? Like, actually, I don't even want to know. Get away from me, right? So I get that. I get that. And then if someone's pushing it on you, like the Spanish consulate was pushing it on me, they're like, well, why don't you just like get a boyfriend? Why don't you just have a baby? Like, why you can stay here, you can get your passport with all, but they were like pushing these like ideas on me. That would be the same as me saying like, well, why don't you just do 90-minute coaching? Or like, why don't you just, do these things? And someone's like, whoa, like, why don't you just shut up, lady? Like, imagine you've gone into your networking call with like a 50-slide presentation, or your networking thing with like a 50-slide presentation of like how you can help them create funnels and like build a program. Look at your face. You're like, no, that wouldn't have worked at all.
Nope.
It's that people. It's the people thing. And that's even what the CEO was saying. She's like, you are bringing people. You're not just bringing a resume. You're not just bringing, okay, yeah, this person met the job description. You're bringing a person who I can connect with. And that to me was just like such an aha moment. It's like, that's exactly what I'm doing. I know these people. And that's how. And then I also realized I have enough people on my list to find them jobs that I don't need to offer this service for free anymore. Because I actually I have my top 4 who paid me, right? Then I have an extra 40 who I vetted, who I can still technically find them jobs. And then when I run out, I can, start collecting more. But that's what I feel like as I kind of focus on that job aspect of it, connecting those dots, right? And helping the people through that, the rest of the funnel will just, or the rest of the pipeline will just start to like fill, because I no longer need candidates. Like I have candidates. I have more candidates than I can place at this particular time, right? So that's really where I need to kind of pivot and focus. So I think you're right. That like not like even just how I wrote this note. Think about how to pitch the assessment call. No, right. It's like how to build trust with my content so that people want to pick up the phone and do a discovery call with me. Fuck, every time.
I'm sorry.
No, do not be sorry. Like it's so good. Like that's why, like when you were like, oh, we have to, make sure that these calls are valuable for you too for content. I'm like, girl, these calls are invaluable for me. Like
Invaluable.
my new favorite word.
Oh my god.
Priceless. No, but it's true because like I tend to just like run ahead. I'll just like sprint my way through something
Mm-hmm.
and not really paying attention to what's going on. That's why even if you see me walking around, like I literally sometimes walk so chaotically. Like I'm that ADHD person who like smacks into stuff all the time. Doors, walls, corners, tables, like constantly just like smacking into stuff. You'd be like, how did that even happen? And I'm just like walking right into it. Like it's not because I'm not looking in front of me. I don't know. And like I'm constantly like having to like turn out of the way of things. Like it's so weird. I realized I saw a video and I was like, oh, that's like a symptom of ADHD. Like that's so funny. Like I had no idea. I just thought it was like super clumsy. No, I just go like I don't even know what it is, but it's kind of like business. Like I'll just like go so far so fast in one way that I kind of like get blinded to other things, and I need like reality checks to be like, no, there's a corner there, like avoid it, don't hit that. Like, oh, there's you have a gap, don't fall in it, Hillary. Like don't So I find like I can see how some people would be intimidated to like share all their fails or like share exactly what they're doing, but like I don't feel that way with you. I just want to tell you all the things so that you can help me.
For a moment I was like, oh, and then I was like, okay. That makes more sense.
No. No, like I feel comfortable because I also just like respect what it is that you're saying, because like you come at it from such a different perspective, and it's just like I never literally ever would have thought that. So thank you for putting that seed in my head, so now it can grow and I can run with it, and then I can come back and you can help me prune the tree down a little bit so that it actually makes sense. You know? Because I get like too far ahead and then forget. It's like the worst. It's the worst way to operate, really. Okay, so the funnel is just now I'm going for discovery calls, and then I'm just gonna nail all my discovery calls. Because the other side is I'm calling it a coffee chat with the it's 10 minutes with the CEOs and like founders or whoever that is. I've been like rating the JP Morgan and Chase list. I got like so many people off of that because I was like, oh, finance, they need UX people all the time. They're not going out of business. So and they often need like a lot of like diligent, detail-oriented designers. And so if I've vetted people who have those skills, then I can kind of maybe use that as a niche. Even with the founders I was going after, I was doing a lot of fintech founders. So I was like, people have cash. This is where the cash is at. This is where people are hiring people to do these UX jobs. So I feel like that's at least where I'm starting with my networking. So because you have to start somewhere. I realize you have to like pick a list and start somewhere, basically.
Okay. So let me just rewind a little bit. So right now, actually, right, you have 2 funnels.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So this brings me back to the days of my marketplace app, like that startup. And the reason why it failed was because I couldn't handle one funnel. I had to handle 2. Right. I had the buyers and the seller side of things. And that was where it failed, right, in that sense.
Okay.
So for your case, right, the good thing is you have like a list of people who are vetted and ready to go.
Yes.
Right. So that is the good thing. You have one side down.
Yeah.
So you kind of just have to get the other side up in order for the hiring to start happening.
Exactly.
Okay? So that is a very good thing. You're not starting from zero. You're not like still figuring things out. So I'm
like in May, right? And it hasn't been
that
long, right? May, June, July, August, September. Like that's it was the end of May too, so we're gonna
Yeah. So it
June.
was
Like
like 3
I,
months or so.
3 months, yeah. Like I think that's great. Like I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, well, yeah. I need
Yeah,
to
I
check
mean,
in with Agnes now.
that is your strength, I feel.
Yeah,
I mean, like the bad thing that you were saying earlier about like spearheading and just charging, I
yeah,
feel like that is also your strength.
yeah,
It's just that maybe you didn't realize that you were trying to do this bigger thing.
yeah.
You were just doing this thing.
Yes.
So at least that is a good thing, right? So I'm just gonna go through the funnels one by one.
Okay.
Right, so this is usually how I think about it. If your funnel start from your content on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
right? The thing that you have to figure out is what type of content would encourage people to jump on a call with me, right?
Mhm.
Because it's different now. They have to reach out to you
Yeah.
to tell you that, hey, Hillary, I would like to get on a discovery call with you.
Yeah.
Right. So when you are creating content, the only thing you need to do is to focus on that one question. How
Mhm.
can I get people to trust me enough, right, to tell me their problems when
Mhm.
it comes to like getting hired or
Mhm.
getting past the interview, whatever it is,
Mhm.
right? And how can I get them to trust me enough to reach out to me and not the other way around?
Mhm.
That's the only thing you need to worry about for
Mhm.
that part of the funnel. Okay.
Mhm.
And then the next step on the discovery call, you have to think, how can I get people to pay me $500 to jump on an assessment call?
Mhm. Mhm.
Right. So you kind of have to think, what would they do after the call?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that they trust you even more now over the discovery call,
Yeah.
right? So, like, what would they do? Would they be snooping around my LinkedIn profile?
Mhm.
Or would they be snooping around my landing page, my
Yep.
website?
Yep.
Or would they be reading my newsletters? Like, you don't really know exactly, but
Yeah.
you can pick a few avenues where you're like, okay, I need to like, keep at the back of my mind that I have to somehow convince people to jump on an assessment call, which is paid. Right?
Yep.
It's not free.
No.
Right. So just based on that, when I look at your LinkedIn profile at this moment, I still am not convinced of the assessment call because there's not much yet, right, for
Yeah.
your profile. Same thing for your website for the discovery call. Like you said, you used a lot of testimonials,
Yeah.
a lot of quotes from real actual people, which is great. But I still don't know what is in it for me if I were to pay $500.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
what do I get out of it?
Mhm.
Is this even for me? Like, what problem does this solve?
Mhm.
And what if at the end of reading that landing page, I'm like, I don't know.
Mhm.
How are you gonna push them over the
Mhm.
edge with your copywriting? Or you could even do videos, like
Mhm.
all of those things will get them to be like, I really want to do this, but I don't know if I should do this.
Mhm.
And then there will be quite a few action takers who are like, yeah, I think I should do it.
Yeah.
Regardless whether I get hired or not, like this assessment call is worth that $500.
Yeah.
That's what you want them to think.
Yeah.
Right. So it would be like improving your profile, it would be improving your landing page, it might even be improving your newsletters. You might want to start writing, but thinking about how can I link this to my assessment call,
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
example.
Mhm.
Right. And then for the last part, it would be the hiring part. Right. So
Mhm.
this is the part that most people want.
Mhm.
How can you show that I'm the one to get people hired? So
Mhm.
obviously you're working on this right now, right? You
Yeah.
have people in line to get hired. So
Yeah.
you're already working on the last part of the funnel, but
Yeah.
you're not working at the previous parts of the funnel.
Yeah. Or well, I was, but not just like that focused.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So at least right now, for every stage of the funnel, you kind of have a direction.
Mhm.
Like, this is my objective for this level. But for this level, it's a totally different game.
Mhm.
And then for the next level, it's different again. And
Yeah.
then the last level is different again.
Yeah.
Right. So throughout the entire time, you're just kind of thinking about the user journey.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
That's something that a lot of UXers do. They think about the user journey when they're doing, like, they're designing the app. Oh, what would they do first?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
the same thing with the funnel. What would
Yeah.
they do first? You know, because you don't want to spend so much time doing copywriting on something that people don't read.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, but people, if they want to book your assessment call, are they supposed to go to the discovery call page, or are they supposed to go somewhere else, or are they supposed to DM you? Like, it has to be very clear.
Yeah.
You know, if you're
Yeah.
interested in a discovery call, go here. If you're interested in an assessment call, book here. And then when they click, oh, it's like supposed to be paid. So should you have like told them that it was chargeable before the booking page? So all
Right.
of these things it's very UX based as well. So a lot of human psychology
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So that's for your first funnel only. So right now you have a second funnel, but this time the group of people that you're talking to is totally different. So you can't apply the same things I told you for the first funnel on the second funnel.
Yeah.
So for the second funnel, you have lists, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're reaching out to people, do you reach out to them on LinkedIn or do you call them?
Depends. It depends. I think I got Google Voice. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm not really sure how it works, but now I might be able to make calls outside of Canada with Google
Mm-hmm.
Voice,
Mm-hmm.
possibly. I did see that my
Okay.
bill went up, so something's changed. I need to call Google and see what's up. So I have just been reaching out to them on LinkedIn with a message that then they book a
Mm.
10-minute coffee chat
Mm.
to just talk about
Mm.
basically like how they see user experience playing a role in their organization, because I don't want to like just like jump in and be like,
Okay,
I
that's
have these
good.
candidates, right?
That's
Because
good.
then
Yeah.
they're like, oh, okay, like let's talk about, and then we kind of
Mm.
get
Mm,
into
mm,
it.
mm. Okay, so you also kind of like qualify them, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of figure
yeah,
out whether UX is important to them or
yeah,
not. Do they have a digital product, and are they
yeah.
even hiring in the first
Exactly.
place? Right.
Exactly.
So
And some of them have said like,
you've
oh, when
run.
I'm hiring, I'll get back to you,
Uh-huh.
or like, oh, I'll keep you in mind for this. So I have
Mm-hmm.
like a list going of like where I found them, their emails, their like whatever I can
Mm,
get, whatever information I can
mm,
get from them.
mm, mm.
I usually find like the LinkedIn DM is just such an easy in. It's so
That's
easy.
good. That's good.
So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
I think
I mean,
calling is going to be a really big part of it. So
mm, mm. So that's great. You have done like such a good thing. You know, you have been
yeah,
qualifying people. That's not something that people tend to do. You know, a lot of people when they buy lists or when they have lists, they just mass send. Like, it's such a lazy way to do things,
yeah, yeah.
which I just don't understand why
No,
people do that.
it doesn't work. Like I don't find that works.
Mm,
Like people can see like I'll even look like so like the first sentence, because
mm,
it's only like a few hundred characters, like
yeah.
200 characters or something, right? But like other than like hi name, I'm Hillary, the next sentence is like what you're doing in this field, like, and
Mm,
it's like from their website or from whatever, but it just like kind of mentions like two things. I'm like, that's so cool, like I would love to chat with you about how user
mm,
experience plays a role at your organization. And then they're like,
mm,
hello, right? Then the next call is like, oh, like if you've got 10 minutes, let's
mm,
grab a coffee and
mhm,
we can chat about it. And then that's kind of that thing. And then I have another meeting if they are like, oh, okay, that's awesome. So if they've described their project, if they've described exactly what they're looking for, which happened the last call, they gave me all the things, very strict
mm,
stipulations, like all that kind of stuff. Then I have another call it's still only like 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, but it's like, I have the perfect candidates for you. Like, let's go.
mm,
Right. So then
mm,
it's a follow-up call that happens, but it's not that first thing, which is exactly what you're saying with the discovery call versus the assessment call. Right.
mm.
So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I've noticed that you can't just like send out the mass thing. You have to kind of personalize it to an extent
Mm,
that allows
mm,
you to like allows them to see that you've done a little bit of work, right?
mm,
The
mm,
C-suite's super skeptical about everything. They don't have time. They're not interested in a big pitch. When you get
mm.
pitched on LinkedIn, those like massive
All the
shitty messages,
time.
and it's just like
Mhm.
delete or move to other. Like what spam? Like report. So I
Mm,
avoid that literally at all costs.
mm,
At all
mm,
costs.
mm,
And
mm.
then it just came so naturally, like having the conversation, because I'm no longer to the seat. to the C-suite, I'm not pitching myself. I'm not pitching my skills. I'm pitching other people who I know and who I really care about. So I'm like the most passionate, most enthusiastic. I can talk about them because I have very comprehensive notes about people's skills, their abilities, what their strengths are, you know, so I can talk about like my 3 candidates easily. So it's like that side of it, I think, is actually going to be, once that wheel starts really churning, is going to be the easiest side of it for me to do. It's because like I just get so passionate, and like I believe in the people who I'm pitching. And that's the other thing that really comes across. I'm not just saying like, oh yeah, like Agnes, you know, she says she's a UX designer. I'm like, no, like you want to work with Agnes. Like I also don't give anybody's names. Because I'm the glue. Until someone signs a contract, I'm the glue. So, and I just figured out how to make a signable contract, and I'm practicing it with that guy that you sent me to find him some UX researchers. Had a meeting with him, put out a poll, messaged all the people, got 21 people who were like, yeah, I'll do it for experience points. So now it's like, okay, so next step, I want to get them all on a call, whatever. And I told him, I was like, hey, I'm waiving my fees for this time because Agnes sent you and she's a star.
No, just charge him.
No, but it already happened.
Oh, man.
He's also not paying anybody. So the whole thing, I was like, this is kind of strange. But it's been a good experiment for me to like figure out exactly what all the steps are, right? So that now next time it happens, I know exactly what's going on. But yeah, no, of course I didn't charge him because I was like, I'm Hillary. I don't think about those things.
No, just charge him.
If he needs someone else, though, it says in the contract that I get something of that. But I mean, he's not paying anyone, so I get paid off of people's salaries. So what do you do there? They have no salary. I definitely don't want to keep working with free people, but it's an interesting experiment, that's for sure. But
when you had your conversation with him, did you even understand like what his project was?
A little bit. We got into it.
That's what I was thinking as well. Like for me, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna do anything for you because you aren't even clear about what you're doing. So,
yeah,
I mean, on the call, I kept telling him like, you need to downsize the problem. You need to just focus on one thing. And he kept going on about his examples, and I was like, yeah, I'm done with this call.
I'm done with you. Yeah, no, it's interesting because like people had questions, so then I was just like playing that glue between what people were asking versus how he was answering, and I just kept putting it back to him. I was like, hey, well, you need a job description, you need this, you need that. So it's interesting to figure out what that interplay looks like, if it's something, because I'd never done something like that really before. So that's kind of wrapping up this week, maybe next week. But it's been cool to see like how people responded and what that churn can actually look like, because then I can say, oh, you know, for this last client I got this and this is what I got for, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like a proof of concept but without the cash. Not ideal. Okay. I told him, I was like, usually I charge a lot of money for this, and he was like, oh my god, thank you so much. But yeah, I should have just charged. Oh, fuck.
Oh man. Again. It's like the money just slips through your fingers all the time.
So consistently.
Oh man.
Like, what the fuck? You know what, though? I do learn from my mistakes. So, like, I do change it, but then I just make a similar mistake in a different context. So that I learn from that, and then I'm going to keep just going.
Oh, God.
Okay. One question, though, to go back to the LinkedIn page. Do you think instead of making it... Yeah, sorry. Crashing. I just crashed your brain. For making it about... So, for my LinkedIn page, instead of pushing the assessment call on the LinkedIn page, should I change all of that to the discovery call?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Because then that's that first stage. So then everyone who's going there can just book it. And then it's like, why should you book this? Because you trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Boogity boogity. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Okay.
that's good. Well, that actually won't be too hard. Changing. Okay, so I'm gonna
Let me see. What else? What else?
change LinkedIn. Okay, it's a big thing today.
Okay, so that's for the first funnel. Oh yeah, back to the
Yeah.
second funnel.
Yeah.
Right, so you have a list which you qualify them first, and
Yeah.
then you would send them a DM to like start a connection.
Yeah.
Right? And then you would get them on a coffee chat.
Yeah.
So I would say think about the DM a bit more. Like how can you get them on that chat? What would make them intrigued to have to hear what you have to say?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So a few things that come to mind would be like, oh, I see that you're hiring UXers, or like I see that you have this product. That the design is done pretty well. Are you guys like very into UX or whatever? Do you want to have a chat about it? Blah blah blah. Like things like that. Like it would start the rabbit hole. Like just to start the hole.
Yeah.
Start the hole. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then on the chat, right? On the chat, you kind of have to get them to like have this agreement with you, right? I'm not sure if you have any like physical documents for them to sign. It might not be like that serious yet. It's entirely up to you. But just remember that you have to keep thinking about at this stage, what should I focus on to get into the next stage?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're on the coffee chat, the next stage would be for them to say, yes, I want you to find me someone.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to think, how can I get that person to want me out of all the other like hiring managers, out of all the recruiters, to find them like a specialized person, which is like the UXer.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I would be thinking like, okay, how can I share with them how I vet people? How can I share with them that I am even qualified to vet people?
Yeah. That is spelled out in the contract. It is spelled out because that's what the recruiter told me. She's like, you have to, like, in this contract, there's a part that's like talks about why you're the best person to do this, and then what that service is, and like how. So the service is vetting the client and like presenting them to them. So it is kind of spelled out a little bit.
The contract is fine, but it's kind of weird to sell after you have sold them. Right, because the contract is kind of just a binding agreement, so it's totally fine to put it in. But even before you can convince them that, okay, I'm going to send you a contract, wouldn't the kind of logical sense to be like, let me tell you why I am the best person to find you, like the people in
that
your
happened in the coffee chat. The one coffee chat that I had, that totally happened. 100%.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh my god, I need to tell everybody about you."
Exactly. So
and I was like, "Oh,
that's
great.
why you kind of have to focus on like the next step and the next step and the next step."
Yeah.
Right. So the coffee chat, you just want them to say like, okay, I want you to find me someone. I'm going to tell everyone. I'm going to tell like this other guy from this other startup, whatever it is. So that is your only goal. So at every stage, you have to put yourself in their shoes and be like, how can I get them to do this? How can I convince them that I am the right person for this? And just go step by step. And that's it. So I'm also kind of like building up a system, so that every time I were to create content, I have a set system, because now I have just like 1, 2, or 3 objectives to meet. And it makes like content creation very fast for me. And then my next step is on the discovery call. I also have a system, because now I only have one goal, which is to get them to buy the assessment call.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. So once you have like the funnel so clear, you can focus, and on top of that, you have your objectives super clear at each stage. And once you look at your schedule, oh, it's time for a call, you're like immediately, okay, I need to get out this document. I need to get out my notes. These are the things that I have to talk about. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So it just systemizes your entire business basically,
Yeah.
and you can finally breathe.
Yeah.
You don't have to panic, you don't have to come up with things on the spot. You can
Yeah.
just be yourself because
Yeah.
you have a framework already in place.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they kind of just wing it.
Yeah. And
Which-
that's actually, so since we've started, that is something that I have been more putting into place. Like I know, okay, for the assessment call, I know exactly what I have to open up, right? I know exactly what documents, I know exactly where the notes are. For the networking calls, I know exactly where I have to be and what I have to open up and how those all link together. So it is like, that is like a baby framework is there. You know what I mean? So now it's just that clarity of like, okay, instead of thinking, okay, the funnel then goes into this stage, it's like, no, the funnel goes into this step, then this step goes into this step, and they're actually specific goals at each one. So that's, I guess, just the next evolution of my frameworking. But I can see it. I can see both sides happening now because, like you said, I have the candidates, I have the pool, I have them vetted. It's great. Yeah, sure, I have to work on a little bit of the funnel there. Fine. That's really not a problem. The next thing is, yeah, vetting the
qualifying
C-suite. Yeah. And then
the
like
companies.
companies, and then just like making me the go-to person when they think UX. They think, oh, Hillary, I need to talk to Hillary. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
I mean, I can see that, if, like, not if, but when this takes off, like once you start hiring, once you start expanding, probably in 5 years or 5 6 years, you can probably start pushing your personal brand so wide that you could potentially start your own like certification of some sort. So people will be like, okay, the UX vocab club is like an epitome of UX.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to hire someone and I
Yeah.
wanted good quality, but I don't want to get involved in the hiring process, I'll
Yeah.
just go to UX vocab club to get it done for me.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I can see the growth. I can see like the prospects of the company.
Nice.
Isn't something that we both could see months ago.
Not at all. But I can see that too. So I'm glad that you can also see that, because I can see that too. And yeah, it's like 5, 6 years, but I can see it. And I'm like, no, that can absolutely happen. So it's just about thinking about the funnels properly, maintaining the funnels properly, and not getting distracted by like side stuff that's not in the funnel, and not skipping steps, which obviously that's what I was doing, skipping steps, but that's fine. Those are easy fixes to step back and then just think about that. So, and you know what, like how you're saying people have started to approach me. You know what I mean? People have started to reach out to me, and a lot of the time on the DMs, people are very conversational. So if I just focus on that discovery call as that first step, I think I'll have a lot of success doing that, because I was having a lot of success doing that. I just threw in this assessment call as like oh, hey, like I need some candidates so that I can start this recruitment firm thing. Like how we were saying, like I just like go for something. Now there's like some structure behind all this experimentation that I've been doing. And it's like, okay, I can see it. I can see these wheels going without me burning out and crying. So oh, it's good. It's good. Okay.
The hidden pains that no one sees,
Man, there's just like, that's it. Like you have to be like vulnerable, but you have to be vulnerable with the right people. Like I feel like that's why I like talking to you. I just feel like I can just be like, yeah, okay, here are my actual numbers. Here are my actual things. Like whatever. Like tell me, tell me. But it's like every time I do that, I see progress. Whereas like when I've done that with people in the past, that hasn't necessarily been like good for me. It ends up, I start working on one of their projects or start helping them do something. And that's that spread out really.
What? You tell them your problems and they give you stuff to do?
Yeah, all the time.
How?
Agnes, because I'm just
What's
like,
going on? I just
yeah,
don't
I'm like,
understand.
oh, cool. Like, let me just do that for you. Yeah. I think it's just like I'm very capable. I'm a very capable person who like doesn't say no to issues. I'll like look at them, think of things. Like I'm very creative, like super duper creative. And it's like that's just a skill some people I guess don't have. So, you know, if I'm being open about some of my ideas, either they get taken, just completely taken, or which like I always thought like I have more. If that's the only idea you had to steal, good for you. Like I have a lot more ideas. And now I'm just at the point where it's like, okay, yeah, I have endless ideas. Like let's execute on some of these. Like so I can go travel and live my life. You know? But I think that's good. So I know what I'm doing today. I'm going to change my LinkedIn to be all about the discovery call. Because obviously that worked. Like obviously he saw it and was able to say like, oh, okay, like I've got to book the assessment call. So if I do kind of the exact same thing just with the discovery call, that'll still stand out just as much. So that'll be super easy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you also probably want to update your landing page for your assessment call, not your discovery call. Like, I don't think there's a landing page for an assessment call.
there is, but it's
There is.
hold on, let me send it to you. How can I send it to you? Is there a chat? Is this our chat? Private chat. Can you see it?
Yeah. Okay.
It's just not from the main menu.
Okay. My main question is still like, keep asking yourself what's in it for them.
What's in it for them? Okay.
Like even if it's there already, you wanna highlight it so big, like it's right there, right in your face, that kind of thing. So usually it's on the hero section, like the very first part, without scrolling.
Yeah.
Like,
What's in it for
will
them?
be there, like what's in it for you.
Yeah.
And then once you scroll down, you're like kind of talking about the problems that they face. You know how usually when people tell stories, they're like I learned this from Shark Tank. They always start with like, oh, one day I was like, on the roof and I was like fixing this gutter thing, and then I realized that there was this, blah blah blah. So you are telling them about the problem, and at that time they were like, oh yeah, Sometimes the problem, like they don't remember it like at the top of their head, but once you say it, they're like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I have that problem. And then
Yeah.
you keep continuing with your story. So like, I fell off the ladder, like I just kept wondering, why didn't someone invent this thing that can do that? So I did.
Someone
That
did. Yeah.
that's
true.
the
Every Shark Tank ever.
yes. I was like, that's so interesting. Like it's so good.
Yeah.
I always listen to their pitches and I'm always very impressed because I don't think I'm able to do that. But then I'm trying to incorporate that, in my landing pages because that's the whole point of a landing
the whole
page.
point. Yeah, literally is.
So if you are not selling on your landing page, then might as well give them a PDF and call it a day, because they're not gonna buy.
Yeah.
But I think it would also be interesting if like you could put just one video of someone's assessment call, like the previous ones that you did for free, and you like just cut chunks of it, and just show it there. Like, oh, if you want to know what an assessment call feels like or what it is like, you can watch this video here for like 5 minutes or something. Just kind of condense it. I think it'll be interesting. So when they're watching, they're like, "Oh, I want that." Oh, I want that too. And then they'll be like, should I spend the money? Should I spend the money? And then at the end, you're like, oh, due to overwhelming demand, I only have like 4 slots or like 5 slots for the rest of this week. And then they're like, shit.
Yeah.
I gotta book it. I gotta book it in now, So
Yeah.
that's kind of the flow of a landing
Uh-huh.
page.
Uh-huh.
So at the very start, it'd be like, what's in it for them,
Mm-hmm.
and then the pains and the problems to make them go, yeah, oh my god, yes, that's me, that's what I went through. And then you want to continue with like introducing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make it sound like it's not only going to solve your problem, but it has been very valuable to everyone, and it's like something that I haven't seen in the market yet, so I
Mm-hmm.
created it,
Mm-hmm.
which is true. Like, I'm
It is
not
true. No, it is true.
exactly
That's exactly what
right.
it is.
So
Mm-hmm.
you're going down that flow, and then the next part will be like some testimonials that you can just screenshot. You can even add like whatever you have added, in a very concise way. You might want to add the person's picture as well, or
Mm-hmm.
their usernames on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Right, just add it there so that people will be like, oh, this person's real.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just their name there. And then next part, you can talk about like what you're gonna get and for what price.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So always leave the price to like after you have done the persuading and everything, leave the price there. And then it is at that point they'll be like, I want this, but I should I? Because $500 is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when the next part you kind of have to convince them that, if you don't take this, what are you losing out on? You're
Mm-hmm.
losing out on things that to you are worth more than $500.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of making them decide between
Mm-hmm.
A and B, not whether Hillary or no Hillary. You want to give them something else to compare to,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then the next part, remind them again. Limited slots, this is the price. If you want, book it in. If not, too bad for you.
Bye. Yeah. I'm busy.
So a landing page
Love it.
it's a lot like a sales pitch. It's a lot like how someone would sell in a
Mhm.
VSL, like
Mhm.
a video sales letter. It's very similar because the process in the person's head when they're interested in buying something is always the same.
Mhm.
They need that push. They need to know what's in it for them. They need to know that it has worked for other people and therefore it would work for them.
Mhm.
They need to know what they're going to get for how much, and they need help to overcome their doubts at the end, because now they know the price.
Mhm.
Right? Even if you were to leave it as like $50, there are people who will be like, should I not, should I not?
Mhm.
So if you leave it at $500, you have to make the comparison for them.
Mhm.
I had this client, like this is the name, right? I worked with them when they were a junior. After that, now they are a senior. The pay rise is from how much to how much in a year. They easily made back the $500.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it is examples like that will make it become a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
Exactly.
you have all of those case studies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
Mm.
Okay. Well, I have my work cut out for me.
What does it feel like? I'm the one who I keep giving you work and
No, but it's not like work. It's like this is my passion. This is my livelihood. This is what I want to see succeed. It's not like this is homework. Like this is like how I can improve these things so that I can start seeing more returns on the investment I've put into this, which is like my time, my effort, my resources, all of these things. Right now, it's just like the structure to make that all happen. I feel like I'm like an easy person to coach because I'm just like, okay, yeah, cool, great, let me do it. I'm not that person who's like, no, I am doing it correctly. You're wrong. Like I've never, I don't feel like I've ever said that in my life. Like, because I'm open to like how to try something. Because okay, so say that doesn't work after a month or 2 months, I'm still not seeing anything. Then okay, there's there's another issue there, you know. But if I try it and it starts to work, which has been the case for everything that you've told me so far, then I'm obviously going to implement it and like see how I can, you know, improve it, make some changes. That's also the great thing about having a service and a digital product. It's very easy to change.
Zero cost.
Not like I've like printed 1,000 like inflatables of something and I have to now sell these things. It's like, oh no, okay, I can pivot. I can make these changes. I can make this quickly. You know, and the tools that I'm using and the systems that I'm using allow me to do that even faster now than it did before. So, you know, like I think it's all moving in one direction and actually moving in that direction as opposed to like just circling, getting sick. So yeah, no, I don't never think that it's like, oh, you're giving me work. Like you're providing such great insights that if people don't listen to what you're saying, like they are stupid. So and I don't consider anyone stupid. Like I honestly, like when people are going back to the dating thing, a lot of my friends are like, oh, he has to be intelligent. Oh, she has to be intelligent. And I'm like, what the fuck? I've never gone up to someone and been like, are you intelligent? Like I never think of people as not intelligent. Like to me, it's just like what they prioritize and like what they're interested in. Right? Because like someone's intelligence, like one of my friends, she's like, they have to be intelligent. And then really what she means is they have to be a history buff. They have to enjoy history and be able to tell her like specific dates and time periods and things from the past that like she cares about, right? But that's not necessarily like intelligence. That's like they've prioritized something that's similar to you and you both like talking about that thing. So you both, you know what I mean? So like it's not, but I all that being said, I don't think people are not intelligent, but I think someone who doesn't listen to you is stupid. Because you're not coming at it from a position of like I'm better than you or like any like that is not your like you come at it from like you said such an analytical point of view of like, okay, give me the numbers, let's talk about this, let's assess this thing, like let's look at this, okay, here's how you could make these tiny tweaks to improve it, right? And I feel like just how you approach that is very similar to how I approach working with my clients, where it's okay, yeah, this is fine, however, look, we can change this tiny thing or change this tiny thing or focus here or do this, and then that's going to improve the overall flow of this or the overall feeling or whatever that is. And it's like minor changes everywhere, right, that make you better. And that's to me invaluable. Word of the day.
Word of the day, invaluable. With the rainbows and the sparkly sound, like.
Oh, speaking of sound, okay, and I know we have to go, but speaking of sound, I actually made, so I was like, people always listen to music and do whatever. I like have music constantly in my head. It's not pop songs. I don't know pop songs. I have no idea. But it's just like music. Like I constantly have music. I'm singing music. I'm just like humming and singing to myself. And the other day I'm like singing this song. It's just like a first bit. And I was like, oh, that's a good anthem. And I went in and I recorded it on my notes because then like from my song, I just like go and I like play it on the piano. So I've recorded our intro anthem. Sick. So I got the voice part. Now I just have to put it on the keyboard. So by next time we'll have the intro anthem and you can tell me.
Oh my god.
This is it. I like ran into my room and like was like, where's the voice recorder? Because like you can't like it's easy to forget melodies, right? So then I got our melody down. So
oh my god, I'm so excited.
Yeah, it was good. I was like, ooh, it got me like pumped up. I was like, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
We'll see how it translates into piano. We'll see what happens, but I'm super stoked. So just to let you know.
Yes. Oh my god, I can't wait. I can't wait for our next session.
Next session, we'll like play
Will it be played?
Yeah, we can play it.
okay.
So we're here and we'll like hear it and we'll get like amped up. It totally amped me up. I was like, yeah.
Oh wow.
Hit. Like, whoa, okay. So yeah.
Sounds intense.
I mean, yeah, it's just like a little ditty, but yeah, it's it's a good one.
All right. Oh my
Yeah,
god, I can't wait.
It's prepared somehow, so that'll be fun to figure out next time. Next time, and I'll be able to show you my changes.
Mm.
And yeah, that'll be it.
So on the 4th of October.
Yes.
It's my birthday this Sunday.
Is it? Oh, happy birthday! That's so exciting! Woo woo!
I just realized it when I pulled out the calendar. I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
bet.
oh.
Such an entrepreneur. Like, birthday. What? That's fun. Okay, well, now that you know it's your birthday this weekend, are you going to do anything to celebrate?
I can't think of anything right now other than work, so.
Go have a nice food meal somewhere. Food meal.
I mean, what's a food meal? A nice food meal.
Yeah.
But I have nice food meals every Friday night.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a treat for myself every Friday night. So I'm like, what should I do on a Sunday? Like, why does it have to be Sunday? Because the next day is like Monday. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
that's fair.
Okay, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, that's fun. I'm excited to learn how you spent your birthday.
I hope so. I hope I have a story.
I don't think I have a story for my birthday this year. Oh, actually, I had a party. No, it was nice. I had a party.
Oh my god.
Yeah, actually it was 2 days. I had a 2-day birthday party. Yeah, because like I invited my friends over because it's my 35th birthday. It's like big number there. Like that's time. So I invited some of my friends over, and then one of my friends, like I live by this field. It's a really nice park. It's not really a field, but they have a field in it that they have a lot of concerts. Mm-hmm. So he was coming down with some friends to go to that concert. And I said, well, come to my house first with your friends. I'm having a birthday party. So then we had a really nice birthday party. They went to the concert. We were supposed to go, but we ended up just chatting on my terrace until like the wee hours in the morning. Mm-hmm. And then the next day, one of my favorite musicians, DJ I've been listening to for like 15 years now, he was playing in the field beside my house. It's like Marina, Mushroom Jazz. I was like, are you kidding me? So then we had a round 2 and some of the same people, some new people came down and met us down at the concert. Mm-hmm. Had a nice concert night, and it was great. It was super fun. It was super chill. But yeah, I did have a party. Mm-hmm. Because the past 2 years I didn't at all. I didn't do anything. And like, I was like, oh, I have friends. I'm pretty sure I have friends. Like real, like friends here in Toronto. Like I'm positive. So I do. So that's nice. I do. Congrats. And they did celebrate with me.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's not something that every entrepreneur can say.
Nope. It really isn't, because you spend so much time by yourself for so many years, doing something so solitary that's not solitary, but it is solitary. And then, when you reach out to people and they're like, oh my God, Hillary, it's been so long. Of course I'll come to your birthday. I'm like, okay, I'm not alone. So it was good. And I told them all about you too. So, yeah. You're famous.
I'm like a celebrity in Canada.
My friend Agnes from Singapore. Literally.
Can you imagine if one day I'm like, Hillary, I'm in Toronto, and then I walk past this like person and they were like, are you Agnes from Singapore? And I'm like, what?
Yes. That's me. Yeah. No, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt that was I talk about you a lot.
Oh my god, okay. This has been so fun.
Yeah, this is good. This is so good. I love my tasks, my to-do tasks. Keep going. I'm so excited for you working on your massive client project. That's like
Yeah.
really so exciting. That's so exciting.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait though.
Yeah.
For the yacht. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Obviously, this is you can
Like-
sing that song. I'm on a boat. or whatever it is.
Oh my
Goals.
god.
Goals. We all have to have them. So.
Oh my god.
Okay, bye, Agnes. Let's
I'll see you soon.
see ya. Have fun on your birthday. Okay, bye.
Bye.